Hello, top of Church Street. I'm off Old Street End. It's busy. Sunday afternoon. There's no buskers, religious activists. It's quite quiet. I've got the floor to myself. But I've made this video a bit later, so maybe that's what I should do, is make them a little bit later. Once again, walking round our Cherry City Centre for several hours. Cultural change is all around. Are you, the good people of Liverpool, when you're in this our Cherry City Centre, noticing what is happening? There is a cultural change underway. You can't miss the cultural change. And like I've said before, does anyone really believe new arrivals are telling their children and grandchildren? Any Scousers left in your class, thank them for the opportunity and future. Their parents and grandparents have given us, and we want to thank them. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe new arrivals will be sitting there, their feet up, watching the TV, thanking the Scouse fam, as I've said, for the opportunity, future we've given them here in our city? They're laughing at us, ladies and gentlemen, laughing at us. There's no ifs or buts about it. They are laughing at us. Maybe there's going to be some that will be thankful, but by and large, especially the culture that doesn't want to assimilate, wants to dominate, they most certainly won't be thanking us, right? And the sooner people understand this, you will realise the threat long-term cultural change poses to our city, not only to its unique Scouse character, traditions and cultural identity, Scouse legacy, but our actual rights in our city. Because like I've said, once new arrivals are in the driving seat, everything dances to their tune. That's what's happened all across the country, all across the world, wherever one culture dominates another. The old culture's out, the new one's in, and you dance to the culture that dominates. That's how it works. That's the real world, ladies and gentlemen, not the fantasy world Dan Carden's in or Ian Bain's in, right? Well, they're not in a fantasy world. They know it's a load of baloney, but you haven't got the courage of the convictions, have they, to admit the wrong. And cultural change long term is no good for our city, like it's been no good for Birmingham, London, Leicester and so on, right? New arrivals are not telling their children and grandchildren. Don't thank any Scousers left in your class. Tell them to pass a message on to their parents and grandparents that we're thankful, and send out our thanks for the opportunity and future they've given us in their city. It's not happening, ladies and gentlemen. If anyone believes that, you're extremely naive, to say the least. Right? This is our city, and it belongs to us, our children, our grandchildren, all those amazing Scousers yet to be born. This is not me picking on new arrivals or anyone else. I'm just putting the good people of Liverpool first, because new arrivals will be putting their kids and grandchildren first, their culture first, everything associated with them, connected with them, they will be putting that first. Of course they will, right? That's how it works, ladies and gentlemen. That's the real world, I'm afraid. To say, not the world of denial. Ian Bain and Dan Cardner, because that's a world of denial. They know it's a load of baloney, cultural change. Of course they do. They're not that daft, right? It's just they're in denial. They can't, as I say, the courage of their convictions. You say cultural change is a mistake. It hasn't worked in London, Birmingham, Leicester. It's not going to work here. They're not going to say that, ladies and gentlemen. They're just going to parrot the same nonsense. Refugees welcome and diversity our strength. That's all they're going to do, because they haven't got the power of their convictions like Joe Owens. Cultural change long term cannot be in the interests of our city. How can it be? There is a culture that is at complete odds with ours. In fact, it's at complete odds with anywhere around the country. How can that be good long term for our city? It can't, and it's not. And that's why we must oppose it. Must oppose further cultural change, because if we don't, like I've said, long term, this will be disastrous for our city. New arrivals on messing about, they're playing for keeps. Once they're in the driving seat, everything dances to their tune. Trust me, that's how it works in the real world. It really is a busy day. It's really quiet, so it's given me the floor for once. So I may need to make these videos later on, because it seems to be a lot quieter. I don't know where the buskers have gone, religious activists, just all vanished. Brilliant. So like I say, walking in and around our Cherry City Centre, I see the amount of new arrivals, and there is no way in this world they're telling their children, grandchildren, to tell our children, grandchildren to go and thank their parents, grandparents for the opportunity and future we've given them in their wonderful city. It's the laughing asses, ladies and gentlemen. I know that might sound harsh, but it's the awful truth, I'm afraid, right? It's the awful truth. That's how it works in the real world, not the fantasy denial world. These politicians that are journalists, bogus super Scousers, they know deep down it hasn't worked in Leicester, Birmingham, London. Why is it going to work here? Well, it's not, and it isn't, right? Our Cherry City Centre is taking the full brunt of cultural change. There's no doubt about it. That's why we must oppose it, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm down here. I'm down here because I know how serious this is. I've watched what cultural change has done to other once proud towns and cities. Changed them into different places. Look at the East End of London. No more Cockney sparrows fly over there ever, or across any part of London. That has been changed where it'll never ever see its former glory ever again. We can't allow this to happen here in our glorious city. We must oppose further cultural change, and we do that at election time. Find a candidate, reliable, credible, opposed to further cultural change, and give them your vote. I'm going to go now, ladies and gents. It's really, really getting busy. But remember, say no to cultural change, yes to Scouse pride. Shout it out loud, Scouse and proud.